I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this 484th episode of the Political Spotlight. The Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. We are here doing what we do nightly. Producer Kate and I are doing what it is that we do, bringing you the very best in political commentary throughout Indiana and elsewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to do something that it's been a minute since we've done it. We're going to do a show where the basis of the show is the national realm of politics. We're going to take a break from local and state politics here for a moment and talk about some craziness going on within the political realm of America as a country, the whole country. And we're going to talk about things that everybody's going to love and agree on. Everyone's going to think it's wonderful. And we are going to have a fantastic time. I promise it's going to be amazing. It's going to be wonderful. So if you would, please consider giving us a little bit of your appreciation up front. We promise that we will deliver to you in the end. If you will smash that like button, that would be so ever kind of you. We don't ask anything of you, really. We don't ask for you to give us money. We bring the content to everybody without requiring any type of monetary payment. All that we ask is that you watch, that you comment if you're so inclined, and that you share the show with everyone you know, help spread the word. And that's all that we ask of you. If you would like to interact with us on our social medias, our 2 Facebook pages, our Twitter page, well, you can do that by clicking the links and visiting the links down below. Our YouTube, the Rumble, 2 Facebook pages, our X account, our studio line is there for people who want to call in and talk to us and communicate with us off air. Obviously, we're not doing any call-in showing tonight, obviously, or many other nights. Our emails are there. My personal email, the show email, yada, 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 yada. All right. So before we dive in to the meat of the show, I want to start wearing these hats. Make Orwell fiction again. I feel like this is a hat I could get behind. Maybe I could make it purple or pink. I don't particularly like the blue color, but we could make it purple or pink or orange or gray. Make Orwell fiction again. I feel like that might be something that we all need a little bit of. So, okay. I'm sure that most of you are probably aware of what we're going to be talking about if you've been paying attention at all. But I realized after talking to a couple of people earlier after I made a post that not everybody gets the reference. I guess I should have known that. I obviously knew there would be a little bit of an age limit, but I kind of thought that it was just such a big reference that most people got it. So because of that, we're going to have to do a little bit of a deep dive here. So just bear with me as we take a dive into a little bit of history here to set you up for what we're going to be talking about in tonight's show. So I hope you're here watching live, because I'm guarantee, you know what? No, because we're gonna get a copyright strike for what I'm getting ready to show you. We're gonna get a copyright strike, and they generally let us do one of a couple of things. If we get the copyright strike, we either have to cut the thing out that makes the copyright violation, or we have to edit it in some way, like make it not there, or else we have to give up our monetization on this episode. So we're not going to get paid for this episode for any of our advertisement, because what I've got to show you, because I guess there are some youngins out there that don't get this reference. I didn't understand. I didn't know that. I mean, I've known this reference all my life, but I guess there are literally people that don't get this reference. So because of that, I'm going to have to show you this. And so I was going to say, I hope people are watching live because they won't see it afterwards. But I make my promise right here and now, we will get the copyright strike. And when it happens, I will not edit it out. We'll just take the loss, and we will not get paid for this episode. It happens. The content is worth it. All right, here we go. Here we go, my friends. So for those of you that are younger than, I guess, I was talking to a 33-year-old, and the 33-year-old didn't get this reference. It completely blew my mind. I was like, I can't, hello. I cannot believe that they couldn't get this. So here we go.
He's still gonna do it.
Well, thank you, Tweety Bird.
Here we go, Fonz. I'm heading for the race.
Here it goes.
Are you sure you want to do it?
Hey. Thank you very much, Tweety Bird.
Look at that chart, Pops.
Yeah.
How could you accept the challenge?
It wasn't me, it was you.
I know.
He's really gonna do it!
He's ready to make the jump.
There he goes.
Little did they know. Little did they know. So, for the adults in the room obviously is aware that that was the third episode of the 5th season of Happy Days. And what we witnessed there, ladies and gentlemen, was Fonzie jumping the shark. This is like major cultural happenings here. And so what does that have to do with politics? So basically, for those that were around and or have a understanding of life even before they were around, that was the 5th season, 3rd episode of Happy Days. Happy Days was around for 11 seasons. And several years after that episode aired in 1977. And in 1985, a radio personality and a college radio personality and his roommate coined the idiom jumping the shark. And what they were talking about was that Happy Days in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th seasons were great. It was wonderful. But it seemed like after season 5, the vibe of Happy Days kind of went downhill. It just wasn't the same. And so there is this idiom, jumping the shark, or shark jumping, or jump the shark, which means that the creative work or the goodness that something had has reached a point in which it has exhausted its core intent. And basically, there's no return from this point. That essentially, once something or someone, an act, a TV show, a band, a politician, a set of beliefs that someone might have, like things like that. Once that jumps the shark, there's no turning back, and it's all downhill from there. The future radio personality John Hine and his university roommate is who came up with that. In response to that episode, in the episode, the central characters visit Los Angeles, where water skiing Fonzie, Henry Winkler, answers a challenge to his bravery by wearing his swim trunks and his trademark leather jacket, and he's jumping over a confined shark. The entire reason that the stunt was pulled off, they were in LA, obviously, for this shoot that they were doing. And the reason they did this was just kind of as a joke, because Henry Winkler is actually a really good water skier. Like, that's something that he did before the show and before he was acting. And he actually did that stunt on his own. That was him. It wasn't a stunt man. And they wanted to kind of just show off his talent on the skis. Well, in 85, these two radio DJs would talk about this, and they, the point was that the show had went downhill afterwards. Well, in 1990, in the late 1990s, the radio man John Hine created a website, jumptheshark.com, and he published a list of approximately 200 television shows, and he gave his arguments as to the moment that each one of the series that he put jumped the shark. The site became so popular and grew with additional user-contributed examples. Hines sold the company Jump the Shark, Inc. for over $1 million in 2006. Really crazy. Okay, that's really crazy. In 2006, Ron Howard was giving his oral history of television, and he was doing the interviews for this. And Ron Howard actually talked about the Happy Days episode that inspired the phrase. And Ron Howard said, I remember Donnie most, and I sitting there looking at the script. Donnie was really upset. He said, oh, man, look at what our show has kind of devolved into. It's not even very funny. And, you know, Fonz is jumping over a shark. And I kept saying, hey, Donnie, we're a hit TV show. Relax. You know, it's hard to have a great episode one after another. Fonzie jumping over a shark is going to be really funny and great. I remember thinking that creatively this was not our greatest episode, but I thought it was pretty good stunt, and I understood why they wanted to do it. And what I remember the most is it was actually really fun driving the speedboat, which I did a bit, noticing that Henry was really pretty good water skier. But the thing that has to be remembered about jumping the shark idea is that the show went on to be such a massive success for years after that. So it's kind of a fun expression. And I get a kick out of the fact that they identified that episode because, granted, maybe it was pushing things a bit too far, but I think a lot of good work was still done both before and after that, and the audience seemed to really respond to it. Yada, yada, yada. Well, for most of us, I feel like we understand what that saying is. All right, now jumping to politics. Rush Limbaugh said during Trump's first term in office that the reason the media and the Democrats could not crush Trump, the reason that no matter what they threw at him, they could not defeat him with, and no matter how many kind of self-induced accidents that he created or little baubles or nonsensical things that he did, none of that could bring him down. And the reason being is his base, made up of various different people, made up of the straight, hardcore, 100% MAGA, or the people who kind of like him but don't admit it, the people who don't like him but they like the things that he does, or the living under his term in office, like they don't like what he is as a person or what he represents, but they like how living in America is with him in office, to the people who hate him but they're like, it's better than the alternative, so whatever. Most of those people will give him the benefit of the doubt because whatever the media or the Democrats throw at him, they know that Trump was not brought up and made by these people, that he was not made by the media. Trump was, for better or worse, brought up self-contained. And Rush Limbaugh stated that Trump would not or could not be defeated unless or until he lied to his people. If he lied to his base, if they caught him not in his little fibs and nonsensical comments that he makes, but if it was a hardcore lie. And I think that he's done that today. I think that he has jumped the shark, and that's why this episode is called Trump's Shark Jump. And I, for the first time in a long time, I actually brought the thumbnail in to show everybody. Here's our thumbnail, Trump's Shark Jump, and so we're going to be talking about what's happened in the last couple of hours. I've got some various videos to show you, a couple documents to look at, and I'm just completely floored by what is. I'm completely floored by what the hell is going on and why what is happening today. And I think it's going to be interesting to take a look at what happens going forward. So obviously everyone is aware, if you've paid remotely any kind of attention to the presidential election, the year and a half or more that Trump has been running for this second term, one of the key things that he and all of the people in his orbit talked about was the fact that when they were in, they were going to release the Epstein Files. We're going to release them. 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 And then, remember, he got in, and I kind of made the joke, and it was like a running joke on here that like they got in, and I was like, okay, he needs to release the Kennedy files, the MLK files, the Bobby Kennedy files, and the Epstein files, like on day 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that's what he needs to do his first day in office and the next couple days after. And he didn't do it. Remember? He finally released the JFK files. It was done in a way that made absolutely no sense. It was very hard. It's still hard. People are still combing through that file that was dumped because they just it was just like everything that has been collected in the Kennedy assassination from Friday, November 22nd, 1963 until the day he dumped it. He just said, there you go. It's all online. Here, you have at it. And there was no rhyme or reason to how anything was next to each other, one after another. Like they weren't titled. They're not in folders. It was insane. And I believe that he's released the Bobby Kennedy files, and I think that he said that the MLK files are close. But everybody's really been pushing for these Epstein files, and then they go back and forth, and they say, well, he doesn't want to release them because he's in them. And I have always said, I do not believe that Trump is in the Epstein files. Look, we all know that there are pictures with Donald Trump and Epstein from New York. We understand that they were in a couple of the same circles. It's very clear and very well known that Trump stopped him from coming to Mar-a-Lago, and that Trump put his foot down and said, no, I don't want to be around this. If somebody wants to say that Trump is a womanizer or maybe he has a sexual addiction, I think, that could be fair. A lot of presidents did. I do not believe, and I simply will not believe until I'm shown some kind of proof, and so far we've not been shown this proof. I do not believe that Trump is into children. I do not believe that Trump is into boys, and I don't believe that he's into young girls. I think that all of the people that Trump's been with has been adults, and I will believe that until I'm shown proof otherwise. That being said, I do not believe for a second that he was on the island or that anything nefarious, that he was on the island doing anything nefarious, because if that was the case, the Democrat machine would have pushed that forward in the last 4 years. Remember, Trump's 2 terms are not consecutive. Trump, Biden, Trump. So why in the hell would they have been setting? Why would they have had the files the Democrats and set on it, not doing anything, and then allowing Trump to come back into power and be like, okay, well, he's got the files now. I just don't believe that. I believe that if he was in the files, they would have released that before the election, during the election. They would have done what they could have to have stopped that. I don't know how someone can think differently than that. I think it's crazy to think that they would have just let that slip by. Then came the weirdness that Pam Bondi did and that they had set up when they brought the influencers to the White House and they gave them the binders. You remember that? Let's take a look at that. Let me pull this up here. Take a look at this. So here's the picture of the influencers and their little books. And Tweety Bird, I'm not saying why not release the files. I'm saying, listen to me. I'm saying, why would they not have pulled out the information on Trump? They could have simply pulled the information out on Trump and said, here you go. Here it is. That would have been very easy to do, but yet they didn't do it. Are we believing they simply missed their chance? I just simply don't believe that. So here was this nonsense, and basically these idiots all went to the White House, and they were given these books. When they got there, they were told, hey, here's these books. By the way, there's nothing new in these books. We were putting them together. As we were putting them together last night, a whistleblower called me. This is Pam Bondi saying, like, a whistleblower called me and told me, hey, you've not seen nothing yet. That New York FBI has a whole bunch of other documents and files that you've not seen. Tweety Bird, that's nuts. You might have more class, but you're telling me you don't think there's Democratic enemies of Trump that they would use it if they could? If you're not a sane or reasonable person if you believe that. I'm not talking about you or your Democratic friends. I'm talking about those ones that we talked about last night. Remember, I'm going to say it here first. There are radicalized Republicans, 100%. But there are definitely radicalized Democrats as well. And those people would have put that forward to stop or attempt to stop Trump from becoming president. That's just absolutely. You might not have done it. You might not have done it. And your friends might not have done it. And I believe that you have more class than some of that. But that doesn't mean that everybody out there is like you or me or whatever, okay? So I want to let you guys hear some of this. Okay, this was the first thing. This was obviously after they took office. And when I heard this, we've all heard this by now. This shocked me. I thought, okay, here it comes. It's getting ready to come. We're going to have this information and it's going to be out here. And, you know, I fully believe that it should be released. I believe that it should be released. Okay, here we go.
May be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein. The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
Okay. So that was just a couple months after they took office that happened. And it was rather shocking that she had said that because everybody's like, oh, holy shit, it's real. It's real. Okay. Then comes the next time that she spoke out, also putting out some information that seemed, rather interesting that she would say, okay, now let's take a look at this. Listen to this.
No, the FBI. Yeah, the FBI, they're reviewing. There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume. And that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement.
James Comer said yesterday that all.
Okay. Now let's take a listen to we're going to take a listen to when things started going a little sideways, in my opinion. Here, give me 1 second. Pull this up. Okay, yeah, here's Dan Bongino. Okay. This is Dan Bongino. And this is Bongino in 2003, who was at the time a political commentator, podcaster, political influencer, I guess, if you will. And then Dan Bongino in 2005 as the Deputy Director of the FBI.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein.
Now we're going to take a look at where that came from. Whoop, hold on. Let me share the media. Look how crazed these two gentlemen look. It just does not look, something doesn't look right.
People don't believe it. Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
This is a 180 for Patel and
Bongino. We'll let her
in the
talk.
past, both have given credit to the idea that there's more to Epstein's death than a basic suicide.
And even some supporters of the duo are saying that they are not buying this official line. Alex Jones said in a post on X, overall, I think Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are doing a great job, but on this claim that Epstein's death is not a cover-up, I call BS. So, yeah, some people who have closely scrutinized the death of Jeffrey Epstein are not put at ease, even though they generally like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel.
Now let's talk about this death, because does everybody remember when this first happened? When this first happened, they rushed to show us the jail. There's pictures. You can go Google it. Don't take my word for this. Go and Google the Jeffrey Epstein jail cell suicide. Google that, and something will pop up when you do that. When you do that, you will pop this picture up. This picture right here will pop up. Now, I want you to take a look very, very carefully to the door, the shape, the color. Look at the red up above the door. Look at the shape of the window. This is the door that CBS, Fox News, and all of the other, CNN, all major news stations ran with this. Matter of fact, there are pictures out there of the jail cell, how it looked discombobulated inside, the shape of the room. There are some that show the actual garrote that he used, to hang himself, the noose that he made. Now, I want you to look at this, and now we're going to take a look. Just within the last couple of days, the Department of Justice has released a new video of the jail cell during the time period where he was in there, and during the time period where I guess he would have been killing himself or whatever went down. And we're going to look at that, and I want you to ask yourself, is there anything different? Are you noticing anything different? All right, I'm going to put it up here on the screen, and I want you to see this, okay? This is not Christopher Bilbrey putting this out here, so don't shoot the messenger. This is the Department of Justice, okay? It's quite shocking when you see what I'm getting ready to show you. So you see the door up there right now, okay? Here is the video that was just put out yesterday or the day before, okay? Kate, can you take that the picture down off the thing, please? Okay, here we go. Thank you. Here we go. Now, you see anything different here? Does this look the same to you? Like, let's stop for a moment. Let's not worry ourselves with whether or not Trump is on the island or off the island, or he's there with Clinton, or he's not there with Clinton, or he's in the file, or he's not in the file, or they're going to release it, or they're not going to release it. Let's just simply talk about this bullshit that we, the American public, has been told right here. This is like the whole magic bullet theory. And you know what? They bought the magic bullet theory in the 1960s. And so they're like, look, they're going to buy it. They're going to buy it. Okay. I'm going to put the picture up again. Here's the picture that we were shown right after he killed himself. Look. The two doors are right there on screen next to each other. You can clearly tell. Where's the phone? Where's the clipboard on the wall? Where's the gray paint? Where's the window in the door? I've been in jails as a police officer. I've been in various different jails. I actually was taken to one for speaking out in a meeting once and arrested as a bad guy for speaking. And let me tell you, the picture that we're seeing on the screen with the police tape across it is a jail cell that belongs down a long corridor. That's a long corridor. If we take that picture down, this is like a cell that is up like looks like there's like an upper level here. It's like a pod area, and it's like in a real small little area. This you can clearly tell that this is not remotely the same thing. Like, okay, well, maybe they changed the doors, maybe they repainted. They couldn't have reshaped the whole damn building. All right. Now, forgetting everything else, is he in the files? Is he not in the files? Are they going to release the files? Let's just talk about this jail. Yeah, right. Let's just talk about this jail. This is all I care about at the moment. Let's just talk about this jail. Okay. The Department of Justice released this. The Department of Justice. These people have the ability to do so much trickery and so much nonsense. Tweety Bird, that's a crazy statement. No, back up there. What? People generally don't care what happened to pedophiles? I will go the flip on that. People are absolutely obsessed with what goes on with pedophiles. 1000%. That's what Rob and everybody else is talking about. Look, at the Chris Hansen TV series they've created, Chris Hansen has been riding that train for the last 30 years, making billions of dollars off of it. Look at all of the different men and the groups and women that are out here all over social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, that are taking it upon themselves, and hundreds of thousands of millions of people tune in to watch them go out here and chase down these pedophiles and track them down and bring them out and expose them and bring them to justice. This is a multi-million-dollar industry, a multi-million or billion-dollar industry. People are getting paid big, big bucks to do this. And Jeffrey Epstein, he's not just like the random Randolph County pedophile. He is like the king of the pedophiles. 100% the king of pedophiles. People have been so caught up and caring about what goes on with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and the whole organization for years. People have paid attention to every bit of this. And that's why when they do this kind of weirdness, people pick up on it right away. And that's why, all right, the Doors are crazy. All right. The Doors are crazy. Can't even believe they would even remotely try to pull this nonsense off. This is nonsensical. Just completely crazy. All right. But now, why on earth would the Department of Justice have released this video in this fashion? Look, 11:58, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Okay, it's going to keep on ticking. All right, we'll let it tick. We'll try to go a little bit faster here, speed, just for a second. This is a 10-hour video, so I don't want to move the mouse. Okay, hold on. Oh, we're getting close. Okay, we're getting close. Oh, it happened. I couldn't even slow it down. Hold on. Watch this. We lose a minute. Okay, watch what happens. I'm going to try to take it back real carefully here. See, it's real jumpy. We're at 11:57:45. Okay. All right, we're at 11:58. I'm going to slow it down to slow speed and see if that'll help us. And we'll have to just watch it. It's going to tick by. It's going to be slow. Now watch this. 11:58. Okay. Watch what happens when the time should click over to 11:59:00, 11:59:01, 59:02, 59:03. It doesn't do it. Watch. And this is not me editing this. This is a video that I pulled off from the Department of Justice. Okay. Now I'm going to pause this here and I'm going to slow it down even further. Okay. So I want you to be able to watch this very carefully. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's good. All right. Look how slow it's going. All right. Watch what's going to happen when we get up here. We'll just keep talking. But what we're going to be watching for is we're going to be watching for 11:58:59. Because at 11:58:59, when it should kick over to 11:59:00, it, for whatever reason, kicks over to 12:00:00. Now, here we go. This is like countdown for New Year's. All right, 58:51, 58:52. 58:53, 54, 58:55, 58:56, 57, 58:58, 58:59. Oh, whoa, 12 o'clock. Why did we lose a minute and like 4 seconds? Now listen. Do I believe that at 11:58 that somebody snuck up the stairs, they paused it, went in and killed him in a minute and snuck out? No, I probably don't think that happened. But why? It's all of this nonsense together. Why? And here's the thing. The DOJ didn't put this out. They didn't put this out saying, oh, by the way, we had an electrical surge and everything clicked off for a minute. They put this out not mentioning that whatsoever. and they left it for people to find. All they would have had to do was say, whoops, you know, it's like I talk about in local and state politics all the time. Like, all they got to do is come out and talk about it ahead of time. Because if you don't do that, then once you put it out and the public finds it, now you're screwed. Because now nothing that they say, hey, Jack, that's a good thought. They didn't kill him in a minute, but could they have snuck his ass out that door in a minute? You bet your ass they could have. 100%. Tweety Bird, do you expect them to show a man killing themselves? Yeah, I do. What do you mean? The news media shows much worse daily. Yeah, I do. You can go find any bit of that stuff all over YouTube or Rumble or the internet. It's not hard to find gory scenes of, you know, you can go back and watch Bud Dwyer shooting himself on national TV in like 1979. Anybody remember when that happened? It's not hard. And yeah, I do. In a case like this, because here's the deal, Tweety Bird. I get what you're saying. Like, maybe the general public at large doesn't want to see that. Maybe that's something that you don't want to watch or whatnot. And I respect that and I understand that. However, in a situation like this, I think that, yeah, absolutely, Kate. 100%. I go back to the pictures and the videos of the beheadings. I have literally watched 3 or 4 journalists be completely decapitated. Now, it's not pleasant. It's not fun. I don't like it. And I get it. I get it, Tweety Bird. I get that you don't want to watch that. But there are people that do it. You understand there are journalists that go to wartime. There are journalists that are embedded with soldiers, right? Like, it's media. There is a reason to kind of understand what's going on. And there are people that sign up to be witnesses to history in that manner. There are people that go and witness executions. And the reason they do that is to say, hey, this is a thing. It happened. I observed it. It's there. And they do it so you don't have to. See, that's what I think you're missing. They do that so you don't have to. I'm going to tell you something, and this is real difficult to talk about, and I'm going to try and do this carefully, and I want people to understand, and I'm telling you, we don't block anybody out here. Tweety Bird, that's for you as a parent to deal with. You put things are put out like that. Like, look, I can't do it because it's YouTube and we would get banned and they would ban our channel. But I can go onto Google, which is something that kids can use, and I can simply type out the ISIS Beatles beheading journalist and can pull that video up and I can watch it A 4-year-old little boy could watch it if he knew how to type in the right words. Yeah, it's out there. It's out there. It doesn't mean it's pleasant. I wouldn't let my children watch it, but I have to police that. It is out there. The bottom line is, without that, you don't know what's going on. Getting back to what I was going to say, and I want to be very careful about this, and I want people to understand, we don't block people here. And I'm not going to joke about this, and I would prefer for you people to not joke. And I understand some of you are freaks. I get it. And I'm going to try to be patient with people. But I probably will ban someone or any of you if you make a joke about what I'm getting ready to say. And this kind of speaks to what Tweety Bird says. So as humans, we're not supposed to see carnage, but shit happens. There are police officers and EMS persons. Imagine if there's a train wreck where there's a car versus a train and there are 2 people inside killed and they're mangled up. It's not good for the human mind to see that, but there are people in those jobs, thank God, because if not, people who would live from those things couldn't be saved. Like, we need people in those jobs. As a former police officer, I've seen a lot of horrible stuff. I've seen things that I still have nightmares from, wake up frequently from. People who go to war, shoot and kill and see their buddies blown up and have nightmares from that shit. Come back and live like normal lives. You're supposed to try to, reprogram now. You're all of a sudden, you've been in war zone for the last 6 months, killing people and seeing your buddies get killed. And now it's time to go back home and be a normal husband and father and live a normal life. It's hard to do, but there are people out there, and it's a good thing those people are out there. It's those people are out there so regular people don't have to deal with it. So that the people who can't deal with it don't have to. Being in law enforcement, there are times. No, I don't think that public could be sheltered. I'm making the exact opposite case of that. I think you meant Tweety Bird thinks that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the exact opposite. You can't be as stupid as you are. You cannot. I don't know if you're stoned by the time you get on here or what the deal is, but you play awfully fucking stupid, and I don't get it. It kills me. And honestly, I'm really pissed, because here's the deal. I can't tell you how many people write me and tell me that I should block your dumbass because you ruin the show for people. Now, you're cool, whatever, hang out, I like you, but quit being such a dumbass, because you ruin the program for people. Get it together or go fuck someplace else. Okay, sorry. So, when I was in law enforcement, when I was in the prosecutor's office, there would be cases that we would have to look at. And it was horrible. And so what I'm specifically referring to is cases of child molestation, child pornography, and cases of the such. When an individual who is in law enforcement has to prepare a probable cause affidavit or prepare for trial, they have to sit down and look. When we go and serve a search warrant and we take a computer from someone, and we bring that computer back and it's taken to the lab and they say, we found 30,000 images, someone has to document those 30,000 images. Tweety Bird, I'm not talking about you. I thought maybe she thought that. Not tonight, anyways. And I love Jack. I just had a meltdown. And there have been times that I have had to look. I've had to look at those images, and it's not pleasant. It's not fun, but something has to happen here. Where there's someone that they can trust. One of the things they've said is we're not going to release all of these. And the reason that stuff is not released and the reason that they don't allow recording in court is so that victims of these type of crimes are not re-victimized. But I'm almost believe that they should, if we're going off the case of there being 1,000 videotapes of these victims, there are victims out there who want these people brought down, that want this information to come out. And there would be victims that would sign off on saying, you could show my victimization. And they could do a pool. They could make sure people don't record it. But there has to be a way when they say, since some of them are dead, and I understand that, and those people that are dead, you wouldn't show. But there has to be some kind of way that Trump does not burn the entire ship to the ground on this. And he's getting ready to do it. He's getting ready to do it. This is the absolute most insane mad I have been about the Trump organization. I think that I think the wheels come off the cart at this point. There are calls from major supporters for Pam Bondi to be fired, for Kash Patel to be fired. And I don't know what Trump does at this point. Because, so the big thing that happened today, and I'm going to play that here right now, was yesterday they came out, Axios came out and announced the big news. And this is what set everything off. For I don't know if you guys have seen this or you haven't seen this. I'm sure a lot of you probably have. Because a lot of you pay attention to things like this. But this is from Axios. Exclusive. Department of Justice, FBI conclude Epstein had no client list. Died by suicide. Open and shut. It's done. President Trump's Justice Department and FBI have concluded that they have no evidence that convicted sex offender and disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or was murdered, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. The administration is releasing a video in both raw and enhanced versions that indicates no one entered the area of Manhattan prison where Epstein was held the night that he died in 2019. The video supports a medical examiner's finding that Epstein died by suicide, the 2-page memo claims. Why it matters. The findings represent the first time Trump's administration has officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein's activities and his death. Theories that had been pushed by the FBI's top 2 officials before Trump appointed them to the Bureau. As social media influencers and activist Kash Patel, now the FBI's director, and Dan Bongino, now the deputy director, were among those in MAGA world who questioned the official version of how Epstein died. Patel and Bongino have since said Epstein killed himself, but it's become an article of faith online, especially on the right, that Epstein's crimes also implicated government officials, celebrities, business leaders, and that someone killed him to conceal them. Okay, let's do this for a second. Let's forget that he killed himself or he was murdered. Let's say it doesn't matter. Let's say it does not matter. Let's say that he did off himself. Okay? It is a known fact that he hung around and partied with celebrities and government officials. Prince Andrew from the United Kingdom. Keep in mind, he was in jail. What was he in jail for? He was just in jail for nothing? Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced to like 20 years for sex trafficking for him and more. There were way too many women, too many victims for just one person. Multiple tens of probably hundreds taken to this island. So let's just forget that if he killed himself or not. All right, it doesn't matter. I don't care. If he killed himself, if he's murdered, I'll be honest. I have always been in the third camp that neither happened and he's still out there somewhere. That makes the most sense to me. Because here's a couple things. Again, that video. You're not going to murder somebody the way he was murdered in a minute. It takes longer. It takes longer than 1 minute to strangle someone or to garrote somebody to death. If I put a noose around your throat, if I tie a slip knot and I put it around your throat and I pull it and strangle you, it's going to take you longer than 64 seconds to die. But I'm telling you, he could be easily taken out of that door in 64 seconds. No question. That's the camp I fall into. But still, it doesn't matter. Forget all three of those. The fact that they are saying I think that was a different story, Eric. The fact that they are saying that there's just simply no proof that he was connected in this world of pedophilia, sex trafficking with others. Let's even remove them being Hollywood or celebrities or politicians. Just let's say they were other just people. There were other people around him. And to say that he was just doing this on his own is nuts. The memo says no one else was involved in the Epstein case. And the memo says no one else involved in the Epstein case will be charged. Right, Tweety Bird. Right. That's what he was in prison for. You're right. That's absolutely right. Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, is serving a 20-year sentence for child sex trafficking and related offenses. We'll talk about that in a moment. According to the memo, investigators closely examined footage of Epstein's Manhattan prison cell between around 10:40 p.m. on August 9th, 2019, when Epstein was locked in his cell, and around 6:30 a.m. the next day when he was found unresponsive. The footage was reviewed by Axios but couldn't be verified independently, showed no one entering the area, the administration said. The FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving the sharpness for greater clarity. Wow, that's what happened then. They enhanced it so much that it changed the shape of the room, the building, the door, the paint, the window. Investigators found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties, the memo adds. And here's this memo. We'll take a look at this. See how we get this, what we got to do here. I'll just read it to you. As part of our commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation has conducted an exhaustive review of investigative holdings relating to Jeffrey Epstein. To ensure the review was thorough, the FBI conducted a digital search of its databases, hard drives, network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, locked cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas where responsive material may have been stored. These searches uncovered a significant amount of material, including more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence. That's truly crazy. The files relating to Epstein include a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse material and other pornography. Teams of agents, analysts, and attorneys, and privacy and civil liberties experts combed through the digital and documentary evidence with the aim of providing as much information as possible to the public while simultaneously protecting victims. Much of the material is subject to court-ordered sealing. Only a fraction of this material would have been aired publicly had Epstein even gone to trial. That's important. If you were in the business Epstein seems to have been in, why would it be so far-fetched that he'd keep dirt on others? If you were in the business Epstein seems to have been in, wait a minute, what did that say? If you were in the business Epstein seems to have been in, why would it be so far-fetched that he'd keep dirt on others? Yeah, right. Absolutely. The files relating to Epstein include a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who... Oh, I think we've already done all this. Let me go down here. Only a fraction of the material would have been aired publicly had Epstein gone to trial, as the seal served only to protect victims and did not expose the additional third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography. I understand that. That makes sense. I completely get it. The system, I mean, there's no way they can release child pornography to the world. That's insane. The systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. It's hard to even read those words. There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Consistent with prior disclosures, this review confirmed that Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims. So they're blaming him for harming over 1,000 victims. Each suffered unique trauma. Sensitive information relating to these victims is intertwined throughout the material. This includes specific details such as victim names, likenesses, physical descriptions, places of birth, associates, and employment history. One of our highest priorities is combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. Perpetrating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends. To that end, while we have labored to provide the public with the maximum information regarding Epstein and ensured examination of any evidence in the government's possession, it is the determination of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation that no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. After a thorough investigation, the FBI investigators concluded that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in his cell at the Metropolitan Correction Center in New York City on August 10th, 2019. The conclusion is consistent with previous findings, including the August 19th, 2019 autopsy, findings in the New York City Office of the Chief Medical Examiner of November 2019, position of the U.S. Attorney's Office and this, for the Southern District of New York in connection with the investigation of federal correctional officers responsible for guarding Epstein, and the June 2023 conclusion of the DOJ's Office of Inspector General. The conclusion that Epstein died by suicide is further supported by video footage from the common area of the special housing unit where Epstein was housed at the time of his death. As the DOJ Inspector General explained in 2023, anyone entering or attempting to enter the tier where Epstein's cell was located from the SHU common area would have been captured by this footage. The FBI's independent review of this footage confirmed that from the time Epstein was locked in his cell around 10:40 p.m. on August 9th, 2019 until around 6:30 a.m. the next morning, nobody entered any of the tiers in the SHU. During this review, the FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving the sharpness for greater clarity and viewability. The full, raw, and enhanced videos are available at the following links. So, it honestly, it really is crazy. So they released this. Axios goes on to say that as MAGA influencers, Patel and Bongino had been among the loudest voices touting Epstein's conspiracy theories. Since joining the government as Trump's appointees, they have been more measured in talking about the Epstein investigation and thrown cold water on the notion that he was murdered. He killed himself, Bongino said on Fox News in May. I've seen the whole file. MAGA media universe, some of its voices on Capitol Hill have expressed frustration with the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein case since February, when DOJ released a transcript of Epstein-related files, which were already publicly available, which is just insane. Conservative figures panned the disclosure, saying it lacked new information. This is not what we or the American people asked for, and complete disappointment. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna from Florida posted, "Get us the information we ask for." The intrigue. When Elon Musk had falling out with Trump last month, Musk accused the president of being in the Epstein Files. Trump posted on Truth Social a statement from former Epstein lawyer David Schoen saying that Trump wasn't implicated in any crime. Also said that Trump was Schoen had also represented Trump in his second impeachment trial. Musk later deleted his accusation and other posts on X, saying he went too far. Still, the questions about whether Trump's name is in the government Epstein files have persisted because they had been acquaintances who attended the same parties in the 1990s. In a 2017 interview with author Michael Wolff, Epstein even claimed that at one point he was Trump's closest friend. Trump, however, said in 2019 that he was not a fan of Epstein and hadn't spoken to him in 15 years. He also said he had borrowed Epstein from his golf resorts in the early 2000s. Democrats, meanwhile, have demanded to know more about the Epstein-Trump relationship. What's next? The DOJ and FBI says in the memo that no further disclosure of Epstein-related material would be appropriate or warranted. The memo says much of the material related to the child sex abuse details Epstein's victims' information and would expose innocent individuals to allegations of wrongdoing. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography, the memo says. So the interesting thing about this is, right, this line right here where it says, Democrats, meanwhile, have demanded to know more about the Epstein-Trump relationship. You want to know who's been very silent on all of this yesterday and today? That's been all of the Democrats on Capitol Hill. They've not been out stomping their feet. And why wouldn't they be saying, wait a minute, Trump is hiding the fact that he's in here? Listen to me. Okay, cool. Trump was his bestest friend, and they palled around on New York. Maybe he went to the island. Maybe he didn't go to the island. I don't know. Release it. We'll see. If we need to throw Trump in jail, let's throw him in jail. Whatever. The bottom line is the Democrats didn't do it when they had the file. So they're just as guilty and wrong for that as Trump is. So now we're in like the Mexican standoff right there. The Democrats didn't do it when they had the files for 4 years. Trump didn't, and Trump's not doing it now. So they're both wrong. I'm mad at both of them, all of them, like normal. I'm not taking one side over the other. I'm saying they're all idiots. They're all wrong. And we're all getting screwed over for it. Moreover, the victims are being screwed over, because I fully believe that there are other victims who have been victimized by other people related to this, and they are never going to get their justice. They are never going to get their justice. And that's so crazy. Absolutely just maddening. So I truly believe like this couldn't get any worse. And then Trump held a press conference today. And it wasn't a press conference. They allowed the media in. He held a cabinet meeting, and at the end of the cabinet meeting, they allowed the press in to ask questions of Trump and the rest of the cabinet. Now, they said that the cabinet meeting was to discuss issues pertaining to Ukraine and Texas and a couple of other issues going on. The moment that I got the breaking news this morning that said that they were going to have a cabinet meeting, I just immediately assumed that the point of the cabinet meeting was to discuss the Epstein shit. And I thought, man, if they let the media in there, we're going to get questions about this, and it's going to be interesting to see. I just don't understand how it's going to work, because if they truly allow the media in there, which they did, I was like, what's going to happen here? Well, let me show you what occurred. Give me a second here. Everything's shutting down. There we go. Okay. damn it. There we go. This was from the cabinet meeting earlier today.
And released yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of Saturday?
Yeah, sure. If I
Pam,
could,
could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is
By
what
that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein.
Light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons prior to the video showing definitively, the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every year, every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
That's it. That no more talk. To hell with Trump on this, and Bondi needs to go. Pam Bondi needs to go on this. This is nuts. Trump is out of his mind. I went back through and I looked for a lot of the sound bites, and I Googled. I used 3 different AI chat GBT kind of systems, and I asked the same question, and with everything that I found, two of the 3 came up with the same answer. The last time that Donald Trump mentioned Jeffrey Epstein, that crazy guy that we're still that creep that we're talking about, can't even believe it. It's been hundreds of years. I mean, hundreds of minutes since we last talked about this. The last time that Trump brought this guy up and brought him up in accordance and in connection with releasing all of the files and being transparent was in February of 2025, the end of February 2025. So the end of February, March, April, May, June, So the end of February to the end of June's 4 months. So 4 months and 1 week ago, President Trump last talked about releasing the Epstein files. And that was a promise that he ran on for 2 years. So he's way screwed this up. He gets everything that he gets for this. And it's not going to be good for him. It's going to be very, 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 very bad. I don't understand. And listen, I'm afraid that he's going to, because it's like the media is not going to give up here. The media now knows this is how to hit him. And they're going to keep asking him, and they're going to keep asking him, and they're going to keep hammering him. And I like when he's tough on the media, but I'm telling you, the first time he cocks off on them about this, just like he did today, it's just going to be worse and worse and worse for him. He will answer questions about this until his term is over. And he should. The shark has been jumped. 1,000%. And it's a problem. It is a problem. Now, I have mentioned this. I feel like I need to try and I need to try and explain it to you in a way that you understand. Trump is not releasing the files. Okay? I've been in law enforcement, and I know there were things that we could release and not release. I know that there were things that, the prosecutor's office would release. I know that there are things that when cases would go to trial, some things would be brought out at that point. There were still some things that were hidden under seal at that point. I am not talking about releasing anything that would be connected to child pornography. You can't release it. You cannot release it. It's illegal to possess child pornography. And the moment, like when I see news things released, I download them to my computer. The first time they would release something and it would be some kind of child pornography and a bunch of us would download the news file to our computer, we would be in violation of the law at that point. So they can't release that. That's common sense. They can't, nor should they release anything that would point to an innocent person not breaking the law. That would be the blackmail material. But anything that would point to someone, living or dead, breaking the law, they can release, and it can be released in good conscience. The Republicans could do it. The Democrats can do it. I'm not talking about releasing the entire file. I'm talking about releasing information so people know what the hell is going on. Trump's not doing it. That's a problem. But when I then say, but on that same token, the Democrats didn't do it either. And Tweety Bird says Dems didn't release because it was full of blackmail material. I'm using the same parameters for the Democrats. I'm not saying they should release child pornography. I'm not saying they should release anyone innocent doing anything so they could be blackmailed. I'm saying, Democrats, release the proof that Donald Trump was on the island, or shut up about it. And guess what? They didn't do it. So it's too little too late at this point. I guess when the Democrats win again, they can decide if they want to do it or not. I would be almost certain that if the Democrats at some point were there and they saw that there was information that contained Trump in there, I'm sure they've got copies of it so they could do it now if they wanted. They're still not doing it. So the fact that we have not seen Trump in the files makes me believe that that didn't happen, or else we would have seen that. Because I'll even meet you all the way in your half of the yard, Tweety. Let's say every Democrat on the face of the planet, save for one, all of them are normal and honorable and good and great. There's got to be one of them out there that would be willing to release it if it was there. And they didn't. They haven't. So they have to shut up about it. Now, at the same token, Donald Trump, 6 months from now, Republicans a year from now, better not be using this to say, well, hey, he was there, or what was going on there, because we're not releasing it either, and that's a problem. And I'm telling you, they need to get a handle on how Trump's going to be answering this. And Ian, who said it? Ian Michael Burnett said, no problem, just tell us who's in the videos. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. You don't have to say what they're doing to what age person or what's going on. But if there's something illegal and there's a person in there doing something illegal, release that information. Don't just say, no, all 1,000 victims were all for Epstein. Wait a minute. What are you saying here? What are you saying here? We want the list of customers. You mean clients? No, that's right. That's right, Jack. That's right. You're right. The Democrats and the Republicans, they're both at fault here. They're both the bad guys. They're all the bad guys. I agree with you when you say that. Most of the time that is true. They're both bad. They all stand something to lose. It's a Mexican standoff. Are we still allowed to say that? I say that a lot. It's a Mexican standoff. Everybody's got the gun pointed to everybody. Yeah, Tweety Bird, I am very interested. You call them customers, I call them clients. Yes, I agree with you. My question is, the Republicans aren't releasing it this time. Why didn't the Democrats last time? And I guess maybe our only hope is that we'll get a Democrat at some point that will release them. Because I do believe. Also, what we've got to hope for is that one of these days we're going to get somebody that will finally do the right thing. I think it's going to keep getting worse. This is going to be the pecking away. I think I think that this is going to be a problem for Trump. Right now he's on the side of Bondi. He's going to keep getting hit and hit and hit and hit. He's finally at some point going to shit can her, put somebody else in there, do something like that, and we're going to start seeing a revolving door. And I hate it because there's still a lot of good that I think could be done. But we are where we are. There comes a time when morality and ethics should take precedent to the government keeping secrets. Yes, sir. Can't buy Mexican pizza at Taco Hell anymore. Hey, you can here. My grandparents get that all the time. You can still buy Mexican pizza at Taco Bell where we live. Thank you. Who was that? Stumblefoot. Thank you, sir, for that $20. You did not have to do that, but I thank you. Thank you. And who the other person was? Tweety Bird earlier? Tweety Bird and Stumblefoot. Thank you both. I don't know. I feel like there needs to be a major pushback. There is. This press conference that occurred here today happened after most of the conservative political commentators were off air, Glenn Beck was off air by this time. All the people in Indy were off air. But it's making its rounds. Paul Bette David has talked about it. Charlie Kirk's talked about it. Glenn released a little short about it, and they're all on board. They're calling for Pam Bondi to be fired. A lot of other people are calling for Pam Bondi to be fired, and shit is getting ready to get real interesting in MAGA world, and I'm here for it. We'll watch every bit of it. We'll bring all that information to you, and as well as everything else going on. I think tomorrow we'll probably have Catherine on. I don't know. I got to figure out if my mind can take it, if my nerves. I am getting ready to go on vacation here coming up. I don't exactly know when. Probably towards the end of this month, and it won't be long. It'll be like maybe like 4 days. 4 days, and we'll cut it into the weekend too. So it'll only be like 2 days off. But I'll keep you posted on that. It'll be for a while, but we will be here the rest of the week, obviously. So yeah, that's that. If anyone else has anything that they would like to add to this conversation, I'm obviously going to be continuing the conversation on Twitter and on Facebook. As this goes, it's very developing. I mean, anytime the news talks to Trump at this point, we're going to have a chance for something stupid to happen. So we'll have to be watching this. I've got some record releases in, record requests in, and a couple of other things that I'm working on behind the scenes at the same time that we're monitoring this. So we'll keep you all in the loop. Thank you all for playing along. Jack, you know I love you. Even though you are a troll, and go find the files. What files? What files? You want me to go break in and get these files? I'm down. I'm down for it. If you know where they're at, let me know. Do you have them? Are they at your house? Let's all do it. Yeah, I'm down. I'm all down. It could be very like J6-ish. Let's do it, Tweety Bird. I'm coming to pick you up. Are you riding shotgun? you, me, and Jack and Ian. All right, you guys, take care. Have a great evening. God bless each and every one of you. Hit the like before you leave, and share the show with everyone you know. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.